Hi guys, this is Jane, and today I am doing a review on My Brother's Husband, Volume 1 and 2. I believe this is the complete collection. I don't know if they will bring out a sequel. I would obviously be open to reading a sequel because I had a really good time with these. So this is about single dad Yachi, and I'm not sure I'm saying his name right, so doing the best I can. Yachi, his daughter Kana, and this is Mike. So Mike comes to visit Yachi and Kana after Mike's husband has died. Mike was living in Canada with his husband, and his husband is Yachi's brother. And Yachi has not met Mike before, but Mike wanted to come see his husband's family for the first time and also where his husband grew up. Now, Yachi's never really fully accepted that his brother was gay and in a relationship with another man, and he's not entirely comfortable with Mike coming up to stay with him. I think there's a little bit of concern initially that he's afraid Mike's going to flirt with him and that's going to be awkward, and just definitely a real exploration into why Yachi's not very comfortable with it. Also, I guess in Japanese culture, sexuality is not as open as it is here. I don't know much about Japanese culture, so I can't really speak to that, but from the book, I get the impression that it's not okay there. They mention that they can't legally get married in Japan. Men can't marry men in Japan and women can't marry women in Japan. I assume that is probably a lot of the reason that he's as uncomfortable as he is, because he hasn't dealt with a lot of same-sex couples and people. Mike comes and he very much learns that Mike is like everybody else. Mike is portrayed, and I really love this, he is portrayed as a very typical person. What I mean by that is sometimes gay characters, and I don't know about manga because this is my first manga I've ever read, but sometimes gay characters get portrayed as stereotypes or really over the top. And, this is not somebody who's coming in with a crazy sense of fashion and who loves Barbara Streisand and stuff like that, the more typical stereotype things. Mike could be, if Yachi had a sister, Mike could be the sister's husband. He is a very typical person, and I loved that portrayal because I think sometimes in the media, a homosexual rep just is the more flamboyant rep and not a character like this. A character who you would not know he was gay unless he told you. Kana takes to him right away. They become super close, and Yachi slowly forms a good friendship with Mike. And Mike doesn't hit on him, which is one of the things he was worried about. And this was just a fun, heartwarming, great exploration of, Yachi relating to Mike, learning more about his brother's life in Canada, because he hasn't really been in touch with his brother very much over the years. But Mike is kind of the only connection he has left and family that he has left other than his daughter, because his parents have died, his brothers died, so now Yachi's kind of alone. And so now he just has his brother-in-law and his daughter. So they do a lot of exploring of Japan. There is some cool stuff with Kana where there is some prejudice that she experiences as she tells people that, her uncle's in town and that her uncle is her dad's brother's husband. At the same time, we get an experience, a scene where a child who is identifying as gay comes and talks to Mike about some of the complexities of what he's going through in his situation, and it's just really great. If you've never read a manga before, I think this is a great starter manga. It wasn't anything, it was very relatable, very heartwarming, very character-centered. Mangas are a little confusing because you have to read them backwards, at least for me, so there was a little bit of learning how to read it because it's this way. And there were places where there was Japanese symbols, but they did translate it beside them. So there was a little bit of learning curve of trying to learn to read it. So I will mention that the pictures were in black and white. If you watch my wrap-up, you will know that I complained about a graphic novel that had black and white pictures because it didn't work for me. This didn't bother me because the pictures and the illustrations were very rich. So, oh, excuse me. So despite the fact that there isn't color, these are still really rich, good illustrations, and I wasn't bothered by the fact that it didn't have color. But just be aware going in that they are black and white illustrations. But this was a really cool book, a really cool look at family relationships and the culture of Japan. And like I said, for a first manga read, I was really impressed. I really loved it. And I am going to maybe read some more manga in the future. I grew up as a comic book reader, but I had not read too many graphic novels or anything. And I didn't know that this kind of thing was a thing. I grew up reading comic books, so I was used to the formatting. That wasn't a big deal, but I hadn't really read much in the way of graphic novels since I was a teenager. And even then, most of the graphic novels were related to the comics I was already reading. So I had never read anything like this before. And I'm really excited. I'm planning to read more. Actually, if anybody can recommend something that is similar, that deals with, family issues, that deals with, family dynamics and relationships and is very character-centered and is not anything super out there. Because I know one of the challenges and one of the things that had made me not so interested in manga is a lot of it is very sci-fi and fantasy and kind of unusual and a little out there. And this was not. This was very focused on character, and if there's stuff like this that you can recommend that's manga that I might be able to find at my library, let me know below, because I would really love to read more like this. I would also love if this author then had Yachi and Kana come to Canada to hang out with Mike and have Mike show him around there and have Kana see that part of the world. Oh, another thing that I really loved about this book is you have Yachi at one point realizing that, one of the reasons that he needs to be aware of his own feelings about things is what if his daughter decides that she wants to be a lesbian, and how would he feel about that? There's just so much good conversation stuff in this book. So many good, sweet, heartbreaking moments. I really, really enjoyed this. Way more than I expected to when I picked it up. I heard a couple of YouTubers talk about it, which is why I picked it up, and I wasn't really sure how I was going to feel, but I'm glad I did, and I really enjoyed this. So that's, I think, all I've got to say about that. Again, if you've read it, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you loved it, didn't like it, if it's good Japanese representation, because I don't know about that. I've never been to Japan. I loved that in this. I loved learning about the Japanese culture and their ideas about things, and just little things about the culture were really neat. So I enjoyed that, but I don't know how accurate it is because I've never been to Japan. If you have any recommendations for manga similar to this, I would love to hear that. Also, please like and subscribe, and my social media is below if you would like to connect with me outside of YouTube. All right, thanks everybody. Bye.